from the island of Saaremaa.
Tere, Saare naised.
Tere.
Kadi ja Kaie.
Kadi and Kaie, mother and daughter.
Kadi on ema või Kaie on ema või...
Who's the mother? Who's who?
Kadi ja tütar.
Kadi is the daughter. I am Kadi. I am Kaie.
Väga hea. Ja teie teete siis sume smoothies.
And you make sume smoothies. And recently also you started producing juices.
Smoothie tuli meil nüüd otse sügavkülmast.
So the smoothie came from the deep freeze. So let's start making one and let's see what your product looks like. And so if somebody's wearing a white shirt, then smoothie sounds a bit dangerous. Just be careful, approach with care. And what do we have on the menu? Mojito? Yes, very pepperminty. Is it virgin mojito? Yes, of course. So mojito for kids. Everybody else as well, right?
Plus kollageen.
So this is blonde plus collagen. Well, we are blonde. Something for blondes. No, actually, all the names come from colors, color of the smoothie, or flavor. So mojito is the mojito flavor, and this name is from the color. And collagen is good. We can speak about why collagen is good. And then piña colada.
Isegi Saaremaa päraselt enni pealt selle laine ära, siis tegelikult käib see laine peal.
And you don't even have the accent, it's pina colada. So it's the Estonian version.
Pina colada. Õige. Nii, meil on 3 tükki siin valida.
We have 3 to choose from. Which one will we make? Let's try the pina colada. Everybody loves it.
Äkki kollageen mõjub mu nahale.
But maybe the collagen will be good for my skin. It definitely will be good for your skin.
Aga no ma arvan, et ikka see pina colada.
Still the pina colada.
Me leiame päris hea kompromissi.
Nii, meil on pina colada. Vaatame korraks seda blenderi suurust.
Let's look at the size of the blender. 1 or 2 in here. Well, it depends on how many people you want to make it for. It's so 1 package is a meal for 1 person or to share for 2. So we can share.
Kui te enne proovite oma joogi ikkagi ära.
So we want you to try first.
Ega keskajast peab ikka ühtesti õppima.
We need to learn from the Middle Ages. Be careful. So it's a smoothie mix. Pour the content of the bag into the blender. Well, a man can handle that. Add 150 grams of hot water and blend till smooth, silky. Yes, the longer you blend, the smoother the smoothie. If you don't blend it enough, then the chunks are too big and it's not very palatable. So if you want it to be silky, what about fibers? If it's very silky, then do you still get fibers from it or it blends up all the fibers? That's a good question. Well, they are still inside, like vitamins.
Nii, vaatame kohe.
Vähemalt see on üks toode, millega mehed saavad
Let's take a look. Well, it's one product that men can handle in kitchen and children. I can see some banana.
Väga hea. Nüüd näevad seda kohe ka kõik.
Now everybody can see it.
Tuleb siit niimoodi ossa kui ilus. Ja kas on kookos siis ka, eks ju?
And coconut, yes.
Väga hea, 1 pakk.
1 bagful. Second one. It's melted a bit.
Ja, sest muidu ta peaks niimoodi klõbisema sinna pannu, kui võtad
So, yes, if you take it out of the freezer, then it's icy, and now it's softer. Well, you recommend it straight out of the freezer? Yes.
Ja nüüd siis 300 milliliitri.
And 300 milliliters per 2 packages of water.
Tundub, et siin on umbes 1,85.
Mart, suudad seda?
This is 1.85. Mart, you will manage it.
Aitab.
That's enough.
Tööhetk.
Moment of truth.
Ja väga hea. Aga parem on ikka mõõta, eks ole.
Parem on mõõta ja lihtsam.
Praegu ta läks natuke niimoodi laia joonega.
See on nagu see ohukoht, kus...
Nii, valge ühesõnaga särk.
So, white shirt,
Taas on ilusti peal.
lead on tight. Keep your hand on it, just in case.
Laseme veel, et oleks siidisem.
Ja, laseme veel, jah.
2 pakki on korraga ka seal,
et praegu ongi näha, et kuna see banaan sai sulada, siis ta hakkas juba pruuniks minema ja nüüd see smuuti on ka kergelt tume. Et muidu, kui ta on värske, siis ta on täiesti hele. Hästi valge tuleb see. Et see on selline kvaliteedimärk, et kui poest ostes, siis on ka näha, et kas on sulada saanud kuskil mingisuguses
also sign of quality, so you will see whether it has melted or been frozen the entire time. So yes, it melts quite easily. Even we melted it before we put it in the blender. But let's give it a try. Food critic number 1.
Lõhn on küll hea.
Smells good.
Sume
smoothie straight from the island of Saaremaa. And we should probably have straws. That's how models drink. Well, we need recyclable straws then. But let's give it a taste. Well, right temperature. It's not warm. It doesn't heat up. Well, as a critic, I might say that it needs a little bit more blending. So it's a little chunky still. You don't like the chunks? It's like juice with pulp, but it's not only about taste, but when you have the when it's smooth, then it does taste better on the tongue. That's how a tandem works. I like it the way it is. But I have this connection in my brain. Checking your theory. So all the juices that are fresh pressed, there's always the pulp. But if it's the juice, then the fiber has been taken out. But if it's freshly pressed, or you press juice at home, then still a little bit of salt. Well, yes, a little bit. And in my brain, the connection is that makes it fresh. When you have the little pieces, I will try to make the silky version at home, but it seems to me that maybe if it's very silky, it feels like it's not so pure. But right now I feel like I'm eating fruit. Yes, that's true, but when you open the package, you do see that it is real fruit, that there's nothing hidden. To overturn that myth that we've heard a lot, that everything that's going off is put in a smoothie. But when you open the package, then you see the quality of the fruit that it entails. What else do you say on the package? 330 milliliters, good for vegans, lactose-free, no added sugar. So I understand that this has been important to you. The most important thing, yes. Yes, that was number 1. The main thing that we started looking at. In our cafe, we used different options. We used fresh produce. We tried Lithuanian mixes. With the mixes, you needed to add juice, but we wanted it to be completely natural. No sweeteners, sugars, and also the lactose issue, not to include lactose. In a certain stage of my life, I gave up dairy, and so you put yogurt in a smoothie. So what gives the flavor? What do you put in it if you don't want to add juice? And otherwise, in the mixes, 2 parts juice, 1 part juice. Then in our case, it's 2 parts fruit and 1 part water. So you just mix it with the high-end ingredients. Yes, we just raised the quality. So as much fruit as possible and as little liquid to add, and make sure that the liquid you add is not sweetened. But let's go back to the beginning of the journey, because people are interested in where you got started with your ideas, what you have experienced, what you have tested out, what brought you where you are now. You have managed the cafe. I did. Still. Was it the same with the cafe, that it was a process? Before, everything was made from wheat flour and just regular sugar was added and so on. So with the cafe, have you also gone through a process that now you have healthier products? Well, no, the cafe, that's sugar, butter and flour, that's classic. We haven't really gone down this health road there. You can add a lot of fruit in the smoothie to get the quality, but when it comes to pastry, then it's still sugar, flour and butter. But it's good to hear that some things in the world have not changed. And of course, so you use pure butter and not margarine. Yes, it's butter. We try to use butter as much as possible, though the prices are just skyrocketing. So you've had one cafe, and you still have a cafe in Kuressaare Old Town. So where did you come up with the idea that now we are going to start producing? Kadi remembers that we were standing in the cafe looking at the Lithuanian smoothie packages. Again, Lithuania. Lithuania is being criticized several times. It was pineapple coconut smoothie, and we started reading the fine print on it, and it turned out that it includes dairy protein, and we thought, what? It's lactose free. So it's fruit, just fruit. And then it sort of clicked. And we started thinking, like, what could we do differently, that it wasn't immediately about starting to produce and becoming entrepreneurs, but it just came by accident, sort of happened. Started thinking how to resolve the situation, and we had this home recipe that we tested out and tried to freeze the ingredients, tried to make it with water. How does it work with water? And then we had the first error, that the blender got stuck with cold water. Put everything in, cold water, deep frozen mix, fruit mix, and the blender just stopped. And then we sat down and thought, okay, this system doesn't work, what to do? And by then, we already had developed the plan that it should be a product, and we should offer it to other cafes. And then we needed to think, is that it, or shall we continue? And I don't know how we decided to try hot water. Let's see what it does.
kuum vesi ju tegelikult on viirustele ja
hot water for bacteria and viruses. I'm not going to go into medicine, but what I want to say is that it
ja häid asju ka järelikult.
destroys bad things and good things. So can you put hot water on cold strawberry without it losing its positive, good properties? Yes, and that was my main concern as well. What will happen? Because there's like a collision when they meet. But we discussed it with scientists that when there is the impact, then everything that happens, well, everything stays within the smoothie. So when there's an explosion, the explosion is in the smoothie. So in that sense, everything is good and fine. And having gone through that process and realizing you can put hot water on it, then you thought, let's start producing. Yes, Kadi said, let's do it. Yes, for some reason, I had this faith and motivation that this is worth continuing with. How much does it cost right now? Depending on the package, the collagen one is €3, the others are $2.60 up to $3. But it's a very good price. When I buy a fresh smoothie, I would pay €5 or €6 in some places. How can you keep the price what it is? Well, it's about quantities, larger quantities. Since been working for 4 years, then labels, stickers, packaging, raw material, the volumes increase, and when the volumes increase, then prices decrease usually, which gives the advantage, and negotiations as well. We negotiate the prices, but of course the current price increase is affecting us as well, and some raw materials have gone up in price, but we are trying to keep our prices down. When you think of the raw material, then the recent trend is using Estonian produce and everything that grows here, and that is most beneficial for our health. And there are few regions in the world where you have the luxury to eat forest berries. I freeze the berries every year, and this summer I realized that it's such a luxury to pick those fresh berries. So how much can you use domestic produce? Where do you get it from? Most of the fruit is exotic: banana, avocado, pineapple, mango. But you can't do without them. But as much as possible, we also use Estonian raw material. Vegetables are Estonian, and we look at the price, where we get a good price. Sometimes we work with the large supermarket chains, how they can help, but for certain things we have fixed partners, strawberries, for example, blueberries, Estonian strawberries and blueberries. Yes, from southern Estonia. And vegetables are from Saaremaa. When you buy the raw material, you buy it fresh, the avocados, the pineapple, you buy the pre-frozen. Yes. And even the local produce is frozen for us. Certain components that we freeze, but as much as we can, we use the service that somebody else does it for us. And so it means lower HR costs and so on, because we need to manage. But you mix them. Yes, we mix them, weigh them. How do you even get them from the frozen chunk? No, they've been frozen one by one.
et ikka nõnda, et sa saad
Saare naine on
kätega.
tugev. Võtab selle kamaka suure avokaato.
Saaremaa women are strong. They just break it apart with their bare hands.
Ei, me kõik tõmbame ise.
Well, yes, we do it all by hand ourselves.
Aga täpsustaks veel ära, et saada aru
But
teie
just to
skoobist.
specify your scope.
Praegu toodate, mis teie jõudlus on neid pakikesi nädalas teha?
So, what is your capacity per week? Basically, 2,000 a day, but we can't sell that much. 2,000 a day? Do you have separate production facilities? Not at the cafe, probably. Yes, we have 2 people who do the packaging, and we freeze lime and cucumber ourselves, so they do that. And collagen and coconut. Tablets, and with lime we thought, should it be pieces of lime or the juice? I wanted the juice, but I felt that the lime chunks will have fibers, and it has a little bit of bitter taste, that the juice is too sharp. Yes, we had different tastes. I only thought about what is good flavor, but Kaia thought about what is better for her health, and we came to a compromise, and I just gave in. But to ask about the premises, if there's somebody watching who lives in a region where they think they want to make something from Estonian produce or to partially buy from others, then how quickly did you get your own premises for production? When did you decide that we'll take this risk? In August, the idea was born. In September, we established the company, and in May, the first production from the new building. And in between was design. We went in 100%, so all or nothing. Is it already bringing return? Well, we pay salaries to 2 people, but profit. So and so, it depends on the month. Your mother shook her head. You didn't see her. But so we make ends meet as at the end of the year, but it's very seasonal. So from spring to August, we are producing and trying to catch up, and then second part of the year is quiet. So it depends on the month. And in winter months, we just do the work in advance and weigh, package. We do all of this year round and collect bigger volumes in the warehouse. And when your own strawberry is ripe, then there's less sales, and from August to December people eat the berries that they have frozen themselves. But earlier you mentioned that the electricity prices and everything that's happening with the costs has hit you. Just freezing is expensive, and keeping things in freezers. How can you manage? Well, that's why she says that we aren't making a return yet. And the electricity prices have gone up several times. Well, in that sense, yes, we manage right now. We don't complain. We have a good deal. Yes, exactly that. Some parts you pay in smoothies.
Just, et ega me ju ei tea, kus see elu välja jõuab, et võib-olla ühel hetkel ongi nii, et helistad naabrimehele, et mis sul on.
Because sometimes you offer barter transactions to the neighbors. But let's continue the main topic today, which is actually more theoretical management topic, not only that we are testing out good food. Of course, I would like to thank you for that.
kuidas teil see tandem juhtimine toimib?
So how does the tandem management work for you and how have you distributed the tasks? Tandem management, as we discussed a little bit earlier, because we have our own specific fields what we engaged in. So as it is for all the tandems, because everybody has its own. And Gaia loves Excel tables and planning. So this is how we divided things up, that she's in production, plans quantities, if there are any campaigns, raw material which needs to be ordered. And I'm in sales and marketing, food safety, so veterinary food board, all this are my roles. When it's a cafe, we've had a long experience because there you would need to sort out your paperwork. Maybe that's why at the beginning my idea was that that's why I wanted to involve her, because I could see her strengths and I knew my own strengths. And it seemed to me that to do this business in this particular way will be the most efficient, because she knows all the veterinary food board orders, because there's a lot of preliminary work which needs to be done, all the layouts of rooms and things. So that was very important that we did not have to start from the beginning. And I think for a beginner entrepreneur, that is the most complicated thing to discuss and get things done with regarding food safety, to understand everything what the veterinary office wants and all the inspections and control functions. But we have also very good officials. And I'm sure she enjoys your smoothies as well. But now this is a tandem of mother and daughter. And of course, there are many other examples in the world. And at the same time, there are many examples of where the mother-daughter tandem does not work. So you did not think about that. No, because before that, I've been involved in the cafe as well, in the bakery business. So when I went to school in Tallinn, and I was always part of it. So we discussed all these matters. And if there are any ideas, then I have been part of it. So this is the experience of the cooperation, and I suppose that's the reason why there was no worry, because we knew that there are no surprises. So that suddenly we can't do things together, or we get into an argument. At least I hope this is not going to happen. But what about this journey? You as a marketeer and a salesperson, how did you get from product to the supermarkets? So how does that work? Starting from the idea, you need to establish that you know your product, you have a design so it looks attractive, so it would be differentiative. And so the product idea is important. And that's why I believed in this product. It was very simple. Everybody can manage. You don't need anything else than with this one package in decrease. What is complicated is what all the producers say, is negotiating with supermarket chains, the cooperation of them. So how did that work? So you first experienced with the chain. So you had a package problem, probably that not this package. It was already right away we used this package. Okay. So you took this package. You went to a supermarket chain. So you had a blender in the bag. So the way it works is that because you need to do preliminary work, you just can't show up. You can go and show up, but you can't get in. So the work started with, first of all, making phone calls. Although if you don't like it, you have to do that because that's the only way. So these are the purchasing managers, because often this information is public. So you need to inform the other party that you have this product until they say, yes, okay, come and we'll take a look, because they have a lot of providers, a lot of offers, different products, because they don't know why your product will be more special than some others. So they say, okay, I will see how much effort you make. So this is what I've heard about as well. And so you're making an effort until you get this result. You get the meeting, and once they are able to taste it, well, you have tasted it now yourself, then most of the work is already over. So getting into the first chain, is that the most difficult task? And then it's easier? No, not quite, because all the new cooperation partners, it's a result of a long-term work. It does not happen overnight. That there is a chain with whom we can make an arrangement this autumn. So 3 or 4 years of phone calls, almost. Of course, taking breaks. That is clear that it's not all the time. Day in, day out for 4 years, because probably this supermarket chain would have not been able to cope with that. So it is not an easy task. Because you have to make a constant effort. Okay, so means that you got into the first one and you checked and you found that you were on display. Yes, so I've already forgotten about that time. But I can imagine there was a lot of pressure that you don't want to fail with the first one. So there was a moment of truth. Will the clients be there for you or not? Yes, of course, because there's always pressure. Because the same for me, you wanted to check the water, but this was so you had also tasting in shops, people were able to try it. Well, we came to the market at a very complicated time. So when we started production, half a year later, coronavirus started, and then you couldn't do anything. But before that, we maybe managed to do 10 tastings, and then it was banned. So we talk amongst ourselves that actually things have been always hard, but I'm sure there will be a good time at some point. So there was a coronavirus, and then there's a war, and then there's raw material prices. But you didn't have the issue that since you have a very wide choice of different raw materials, so are you not worried that you cannot get the raw materials and you can't fulfill your orders? Because this can't happen, that you can't meet your quota. Right now we don't have this issue because we have good partners, so they always warn us if there's something coming up, so cooperation works quite well. So we have not had this kind of issue yet, so that there has been a shortcoming. What has been the hardest thing when you started your business? So we'll give the floor to Mum, since you already spoken 85% of the time.
What's
the hardest? I think marketing is the hardest, because production is easy, because you have your recipe, you have the space, you have the people, you order in the raw material, you produce it, but to sell it, that's difficult. That takes a lot of time. So you have to find somebody and you make phone calls. And of course, you look at the chains, but we have also spent a lot of energy talking to spas. So we know that they don't always have a lot of staff and a lot of clients who arrive who all want the smoothie by the pool at the same time. So that's the complicated one, because this is not where we have managed to get them to take our blender and tell them to try it. Maybe there's a pricing issue as well. So they have chosen other goods. Yeah, so if you talk about the price, then it's not too expensive. It's actually quite sensible. But of course, if you compare this to a cheap drinks, then it's not possible to compare. It's a different category. And I understand that people have less money available. Do you see that the potential is to grow over next period, or you trying to maintain what we have? Now, can I answer? To know what the limits are. Yes, of course, we want to grow, because right now we've been growing 50% every year, and would like to continue this trend. Every year 50%, but that's very impressive. Because right now our goal is to reach export markets. So we took our blender and we visited other places, so Finland and Denmark, Latvia, and now we'll be looking at Dubai. So with Enterprise Estonia, there was an export program. We are part of that. And if things go well, then maybe next year, you can find us also there. Nordic countries are more similar to us, and maybe they have similar tastes. But who will test your products if you want to go to Dubai? So it's a sunshine country, and they used to sweeter fruit. Who will test the product so it will work well there as well? So we use our potential clients, but how do you reach them? So this goes through the Enterprise Estonia export program, because we have arranged meetings with our potential distributors, and then locally we let them test. So the same way as we would go to the purchasing manager, the same process is there, and the system is the same. So we use the same flavors. So Dubai expert has tested and approved. So you have the expert of flavors. So Enterprise Estonia is helping a lot. In addition to the Enterprise Estonia program, you are also the county development center programs, and they are helping to organize this entrepreneurship week, so you have their support as well. Yes, indeed, we started with the startup support. That was helped us with the 60% of the production setup. So at the beginning, it was extremely necessary. I recalled when we started with this production, then our understanding was that we will have everything automated, automated scales. Everything is digital, so we don't really need to have people in order to weigh everything. And then the reality landed, because it's still manual labor, because then you get exactly this flavor. Exactly so much pineapple, banana, avocado, to make sure that there is a uniform taste. That was our goal as well. So when you're making the smoothie, then you will find a good taste. How to make sure that the flavor remains the same. So from this kind of package, every time you should get the same taste. Have you found this? Yes, indeed, because we are doing everything by hand. But apples have different varieties as well, so you get different flavor. It does not impact it so much. Because if you buy different shops, you get the same flavor you can test different batches. Because the flavor has to be the same, I can promise that. So what was the second support by the County Development Center? Was that the development? Or remember? No, I think we got only one. I'm sure you are correct. Well, if we take a step forward again, then
ökoloogilise
It is very popular to use organic raw materials and using green labels. So are you taking your raw material in regardless of the origin? Yes, indeed, it was a discussion. Will you consider that? But here, there is a limit because if you have the eco label, it's even more expensive. So the price of smoothie in the shop becomes very high that we can't produce or sell it. But why did you choose so many foreign origin fruit? Well, smoothie is mostly about a banana. People have asked us, and we try to have less banana. Because there is one which has less banana, but there's more pineapple. We tried pumpkin as well. We should make it sort of smooth and give a texture. So what happened? It just wasn't good. And bananas give you this sweetness as well. It gives a texture. So we use a lot of banana, so we do not have to add juice. And to get freshness, we use cucumber. So cucumber gives sort of fresh taste. Also lime, again, gives freshness. Then locally grown, we have used beetroot blackcurrant smoothie. So it was one thing we disputed as well. And I came out on top. But all rhubarb, forest berries, currants, raspberries. We also have horticultural blueberry and also sea buckthorn. There's a lot of production. Yes, indeed, but you have to have a base. So banana still has to be there, and you can add. So we are using sea buckthorn, for example. Yes, because you have to find this combination taste, and this is how you get it with test celery, for example. We tried corn, dates. So we have tried a lot of different things. There is a smoothie which has paprika, dill. It could work quite well when it's cold. We had chili in a raspberry smoothie, so that gives some sharp aftertaste. So it was an island grown, but sea buckthorn comes from the Hiie Island. So we're cooperating with the other island as well. But when it comes to the flavor, it's actually very interesting. We can extrapolate that to many other fields as well. So if you have viewers here who would like to start their business in some other field, which has nothing to do with food, maybe your field is very good to open the door because it's related to flavors. Then how much you can nudge the market with your flavors, or as a small producer, or some others who produces wooden benches, you have to produce whatever people are used to buy, or you have to produce this kind of flavor which people are used to consume. So I usually say that we should offer it to a wider audience, so we'd have as many people buying as possible, and then we have somebody suggesting beetroot. But on Facebook, a lot of people really enjoy this smoothie. Yes, it's called Ruby, beetroot, blackcurrant, apple and banana. It sounds very good because blackcurrant is probably so strong that it covers it. But it's a raw beetroot, it tastes raw, and they send it back saying that it tastes off. And then because it's raw beetroot, because raw beetroot has a very specific taste. And then it's like, yes, indeed, maybe that's it. It's something we're not used to, because we used to boil beetroot, but it has a completely different taste. So it could be that the raw beetroot is a bit of a shock. So are you able to then nudge your market or not? To a certain extent, yes. But at the same time, we follow the market because collagen was very popular. Then we are trying to find something for the same niche, but to make sure it's popular, or we would have as many consumers as possible. But Mojito is a niche product as well. It has been very well received. So for these products, we try to differentiate ourselves as much as possible to do things that people can't be bothered to do at home. So there is you don't have peppermint or lime available, or you're not even thinking about putting beetroot in a smoothie, or that you don't want to have a nasty taste of collagen in the smoothie. So we want to make sure it's convenient and it's good. You have 2 people working for you, and you have 2,000 packages per day capacity, and right now you're producing half, about half of it. So what it is, what you need right now, after many years of in operation, in order to make that leap, so you can provide maximum production. We discussed it, if we have 300 shops, and if every shop they would buy 2 smoothies every day, then it will be perfect. Then you'd fulfill the targets. Then maybe that will be a difficult volume, because then you would need more space. So what's an obstacle before that you can't make this leap right now? I think it's mostly because marketing, or that to introduce this product to people so that people would understand what it's all about. To be blunt, its resource is what is lacking for a small producer, so that you can put into marketing and all the possibilities which come with sales. As far as I know, it's a problem for all the small producers. So that's the biggest issue. So you need advertising. We need resource, because you can always advertise, but if you don't have money to pay for advertising, then people will be knocking at your door. So it's not about anybody who will come and help you. You know what your problem is, and it can be solved. Because right now we can cope. So my question was that does it mean that you reach this kind of stage where you try to find investors, or would you like to get the Dubai market and you would like to get some bigger markets before you start including investors? Right now we are discussing investors involvement, because we want to conquer the world. So we want to reach the foreign markets, and we want to be as efficient as possible. Because once you have one thing, then something else has to be ready, because otherwise you can't produce it. So they have to move hand in hand. This is something which is clear from the beginning, because when we started to produce and we started to market, we were not waiting that now we will fill the fridge and then check who we can sell it to. So you can't have money standing still. Maybe this is also complicated for startups, because we are afraid of producing that. I'm sure that sales will, or if you can sell, production will catch up. And what makes you work is competition, because we competitors caught up very quickly, and that made us to make an effort. Because before you were afraid to make a phone call, but now we was willing to make phone calls because it's sink or swim. What do you think? What is your competitive advantage? It is natural, a raw material from Estonia, and simple, convenient, and quality. Because we don't have similar products. Some companies offering smoothie mixtures, which are there are 3 packages, for example, or 1 package, but there is always a description which says add milk, or add juice, or add this or that. So to use only water, then this is not what we've seen, that it will taste good. Let's take a viewer question as well, because we have answered some of the questions already. So how it is to do business with your mother and whose taste comes on top. So the taste comes from here, but the final word is over here. So this is all very clear. But how big should be the test group in order to put the new product onto the market?
Selles mõttes testgrupp on meil väga mugav võtta oma kohvikus.
Have a test group in our cafe. Usually the entire staff,
ligi 20 inimest.
Close to 20
Ja
people,
vajadusel saame alati ka kohviku
and
klienti
if
juurde
necessary,
võtta,
also
nendele testida
some
anda.
cafe
Ses mõttes
customers as
ja
well
siis
have
kui
it
on
them
toode
tested.
nii-öelda lõppjärgus,
And when the product is in the
siis
final
valituskasutus
stages,
see,
then
kuskilt ei saa nii-öelda negatiivset alad.
we choose the one that doesn't get any negative feedback. So you need to keep trying till everybody says this is great. That's interesting.
Ei arva, et kellelgi on halb maitse.
That you don't think that people just have a bad taste or that tastes are different.
Aga teine ütleb, et no, et mulle see kookos ei meeldi või mulle ei meeldi see või et noh, selles mõttes on ju tõesti, see on teil väga kihvt eesmärk, et
So that's an excellent objective that everybody needs to like it.
Kuna tegelikult ju inimesi on ka nii palju Eestis on ju, et siis ikkagi ta peab ikkagi võimalikult paljudele maitsema.
Yes, but if you want to sell it, then you want as many people to like it as possible. It's like in a family that the pina colada is for children, the mother drinks the green, father drinks the red, for example, so it's a little bit for everyone. And then we have a question of what new flavors you are testing. Well, we keep testing all the time.
Just spetsiifilises valdkonnas.
Well, juices are new. So rhubarb apple, I want to try that. And this is apple strawberry. 100% Estonian produce, cold pressed and pasteurized at 79 degrees. What happens if it's 20 degrees? Well, nothing happens. Why 79? The higher the temperature, the more the useful ingredients die. So it's the optimal heat. Yes, very nice flavor. So you need to keep it in the fridge. Well, up to 18 degrees. It keeps for a year.
Olete siis testinud ka, no te peategi just olema testinud, et panete aastaks ajaks seisma ja siis joote.
So you have tested it, you have kept it out for a year and then tried it? Well, yes, there are certain norms as well that if you have pasteurized something at a specific degree, then you know how long it will last and you can try it yourself, and we have smoothie mixes in the freezer from 2019. You can do it yourself, or there are other ways of testing how long something keeps. In our case, it's mostly a year or 18 months. I have another question, and maybe a viewer, some viewers as well. So nowadays, cold freezing is popular, that it takes out the water, but you have the fruit. And such smoothie mixes are also offered, so dry freezing. Have you thought about it? Because that's maybe easier. So you mean like a powder? Or chunks, pieces, but dry freezing. What do you think of it? We have tried it. Well, we try everything. What functions, what coincides with our area and how to evolve. But we decided to keep to our product. It's the freshness. When you make it fresh from frozen produce, then it tastes different. And that's why we decided to stick to our main work. Thank you for coming.
Aga mõjusite väga värskelt igatahes.
It was very refreshing to speak to you. It's wonderful that you have such products and wide selection, and I hope that in the future things will look up and soon Dubai shapes will be drinking your smoothies with a straw. So I wish you luck with export, and I'm happy that you have received support from the county development centers. So Kadi and Kaia, thank you very much, and in a minute we will continue with Andres, who is a member of the board of the county development centers.